Hey, it's the Scotch Test Dummies. We got Crown Royal Bourbon Mash.
Woo! It's bourbon from Crown Royal.
No, it's not. Let's test it.
Test it! Bourbon style?
Canadian bourbon style. Let's test it.
It's right off the bat. The marketing here did kind of confuse you.
Yep.
How so?
Let's get into that here in a little bit. Let's do our Scotch God shout out first. Get that out of the way. Okay. From the 12 hours of boom, what was it, hour 4, hour 5, we had Scotch Trooper came on.
They all blended in together, but Scotch Trooper's show was memorable just because it was sad.
Yeah. He had to go watch it, find out some stuff that went on there with Scotch Trooper.
But beyond sad, Scotch Trooper loves things Star Wars. What do we love?
Star Wars.
Bam.
And whiskey.
Right.
And Scotch Trooper 2, combining the two.
Right.
Is that combining the two?
Well, they look intertwined by the gesture you're making.
So, Molly Oko comments.
Can I clean this up?
Let's go.
There's a curse word in here, right? I'm going to say, what the flim-flam, something with an F, does Star Wars have to do with whiskey? Question mark.
That's it.
And the answer?
I said, what are you saying? No two things can intertwine?
Yeah. Peanut butter and chocolate?
Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah. What do they have to do with each other?
Milk and an Oreo cookie?
How about sherry and whiskey? Woo! Whoever came up with that idea?
Holy moly. What about mixing a little bit of peat smoke into a liquid?
Yeah.
That's stunning intertwining.
Yeah. How about a horse and a carriage? Who would ever thought about combining those two things?
Hello? Bam. That's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to think of something else that would intertwine, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. A horse and a carriage. Usually a man just drug a wagon.
Yeah, what are you doing that horse and that
Why
carriage?
don't you hook a beast of burden to that little wagon you're dragging around, and then you even ride the beast?
You're crazy bring those two things together.
There ain't no intertwining around here. Don't be doing no intertwining. So if you can combine Star Wars with something, I say you should.
What doesn't Star Wars go with is the better question.
Now that is good. What would it not go with?
I think hot dogs in Star Wars. Boom, that's a good web page right there.
Yeah, hot dogs in Star Wars.
Yeah, movies in Star Wars, cars in Star Wars.
Wow.
Yeah, you could deck your car out.
Yeah, water polo.
Manga shirts in Star Wars. You don't have any of those.
But they're kind of combat related. Looks like this fella's turning into a Wookiee. It's actually a wolf or something.
All right, let's move on to the Crown Royal Bourbon Mash.
So needless to say, we've got an intertwining here, so we thought that was a perfect segue. Let me get it out of its bag. So, explain the bourbon mash.
So, this came out, this hit the shelves, it was several months ago now. When I first picked it, and I saw it, hadn't seen or read anything about it. I saw Crown Royal Bourbon Mash. I got to pick that up, find out. $4.25.
Ooh.
I said, I got to pick that up and find out what kind of bourbon Crown Royal's pumping out.
There you go.
And then I was disappointed.
Yeah, because you expected more bourbon.
I expected the bourbon.
But
it's not a bourbon. It is Crown Royal's bourbon mash.
Right.
The majority of Canadian whiskeys make a 100% rye whiskey.
Right.
They make a 100% corn whiskey.
Right.
A 100% malted barley.
Sure.
And then and then they say, give me 60% of that one, 25% of that, 15% of that.
Yep.
And they blend them.
After they've all been separated and even matured.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes. So anyway, with this one, this is what Crown Royal people in the distillery refer to this as their bourbon mash. It's not even a bourbon mash, but it's different than what they generally do. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that exact mash is.
Sure. Probably at least 51% corn is going in.
Well, that's what I say. I don't think it even meets the...
Right.
I don't know that it even meets... It's just what they call, what people in Crown Royal refer to as their bourbon mash. It's separate than... They actually do mix some grains and distill them together.
So they did use aged in a combination of new charred American oak, which is ex-bourbon barrels. So right there is a bourbon-esque. And then they talk about how the tastes come in. So, but it feels... To them, it's their bourbon-esque mix.
Right. Yes. So they did get into trouble though for labeling this bourbon mash, and then it coming into the States. They've since, this was one of the first runs, they've since had to put stickers on there that say this is not bourbon.
Right.
And they actually had pictures. I'd seen some pictures on social media where people were seeing this in the bourbon aisle at liquor stores.
Ooh.
Stores were putting it in with the
So
bourbon.
they were confused.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, since now they've had to put a sticker on there saying this is not bourbon, and I believe I've heard that they even have to rename it now.
Because they started calling it a bourbon.
No, the blend. I thought it was
blended mash.
Blenders mash or something like that.
Yeah. So now they're making them call it something else.
Yeah.
Not even blenders mash.
No, I think blenders mash is what they're going to have to go with or something. And you know, even when I saw it in the store, if it would have had Crown Royal blenders mash on it, I probably still would have bought it. I would have tried it. But my expectations wouldn't have been expecting bourbon that's blasted all over the packaging.
Because they're calling it the Blender series on the back.
Boy, there's a sweet rye.
Yeah.
Orange peel, orange zest.
I get a lot of spices.
Rye. Dill,
Creamy.
Dill pickle.
Yeah, that's that rye that you're getting a little bit of the dill.
Yeah. To me, the usual bourbon notes, and that even when I first popped it and I got those notes, I was like, wow, that just smells like a really sweet Canadian rye. Not much of a little bit of cinnamon. Yeah.
Now on the flavor, I get a little bit of like a red hot cinnamon candy, and then brown sugar. Then the sugar almost sweetens up a little bit as it moves into the trailing finish.
The sugar sweetens up?
It's like the sugar sweetens, goes a little bit from the brown sugar to more like a cane sugar. And then I even get a little bit of the dusting of powdered sugar, like when you eat into the donut.
Yeah. I guess it's really light. I mean, to me, it's a Crown Royal. It comes off, it's light. There's light oak, there's light citruses, there's that powdered sugar, there's a sweet rye.
I get a little bit of that, well, not a little bit. There is definitely that corn grain influence in there as well. I get a little bit of the remembrance of a mellow corn. Not as strong, obviously, that's primarily corn whiskey, but I definitely get that corn influence in there. A little bit of a creamy butter corn.
Now that you say that, more like a sweet cream corn. Like you made creamed corn and you added some sugar. Brown sugar to it.
Definitely. And then that's really what it brings. It just brings in that simpleness. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You get the corn influences, the sweet brown sugars, switching to that, what I call the cane sugar, moving or morphing into that powdered, dry astringency sugar flavor in the finish.
If this is supposed to be a bourbon, it's the lightest bourbon I've probably ever had on the palate.
So I don't think it's supposed to be a bourbon. Right. It's their, I mean, I think with the strong corn influence.
There are some bourbon similarities, but
I don't get all the caramels.
Right.
And nor do I get a big wood influence.
Right. Yeah.
So, which is why it's using a refill or an ex-bourbon.
They're not using virgin.
Right.
Oak. First fill charred barrels.
You just said virgin. I've added in oak.
72 virgin oak.
That's right. Virgin Cooper.
This is 40,
Virgin Cooper
40% as well. And I can tell you, here this is $20 range. So,
one thing I want to mention on this that was interesting, I'm sure you get this, I get this all the time, co-workers, friends of friends, they all kind of know we have a whiskey show. I had two different people like kind of seek me out to say, have you had this? Have you tried this? It's good, it's smooth. So I think it really worked on, because Crown Royal are masters of that smooth, really approachable whiskey. And I think you combine it with the name, and you had people, and the price, you had folks that don't normally try whiskey trying it and then seeking me out to tell me, have you reviewed it yet? And you'd kind of done your thing on it, but we hadn't officially reviewed it yet. So I said, we'll review it. So that was interesting, the approachableness of it. I think it's probably hit Crown Royal right where they wanted it, because I've got non-whiskey drinkers searching me out saying they bought it, and they wanted us to review it.
Yeah.
How are we going to title this?
Crown Royal Bourbon Mash.
Okay, with the caveat of the blender's mash, because you want to catch the other people looking for blender's mash too.
Sure.
I'll be the one titling it, so I figured I better make sure.
Sure. I give it an 87.
I'm going to say 85.
85?
I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's smooth. Chupacabra.
I was about to say, it's killing you. Not saying it.
Yeah, the mailman's here.
I've told them, you don't have to say chupacabra every time.
Every time. You hear the dog bark,
it's like
chupacabra.
The dog just barked and you were like...
It's Pavlov's law in reverse.
Like, ooh.
Yeah.
What?
Salivation. I'm like, I gotta say chupacabra. We're back.
Let's go back. Okay, we had to shut down there for a minute or so. Is it worth it? I think so.
Yes.
For $20 range.
$20. At the very least, have it on the back of the bar. Again, this is good. All the time, we will get folks stopping by the house, or they're here for an evening, or maybe they're here to see Liz, the Puerto Rican wife. That'll get me in trouble. Like
You've worked in Chupacabra, Puerto Rican wife, and board games into the same review.
And almost sandwiched tightly together.
Yeah.
Love it. But someone goes, wow, you got a lot of board games and a lot of whiskey. That's what happens now. And then they generally don't want to try the board game, but they want to try the whiskey. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell them, what have you had? And if they go, well, I had some whatever, and it burned me, I'll pull something out that's definitely 40%, something like this, approachable, easy to sip. And then I'm going to tell you, I don't put it in a fancy glass. I put it in like one of our rocks glasses with ice, and they're all over it. All over it. And Crown's perfect for that, honestly. A lot of times they'll gravitate toward it because that's what they've had.
Now, I will say, so when I first bought this, we were doing a live stream. I forget what it was. I opened it and I tried it. I gave it a non-buy recommendation.
Right.
But that's when I first opened it. I was like, this isn't a bourbon. This is a sweet Crown Royal rye. Mm-hmm. I was disappointed in that. I said I wouldn't give it a buy recommendation. But now going back to it, trying to get the bourbon mash out of your head, just try it as a whiskey, and it's smooth, it's light, it's a sweet Canadian rye.
With this
some of the mild bourbon notes.
Do you have a collector's bottle? I think they probably put out like 80,000 of these.
Probably more. There's still a lot of this around.
Yeah. I think 80,000 of them went out. That's why they weren't recalled. They just had to be stickered.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can buy this and save it, and in 20 years, it's going to be worth $25 instead of 20.
Right. Meanwhile, inflation.
Hey.
Yep.
Traveling Dummy. Tom R. sent us a picture from Lake Tahoe. That is a pretty picture.
That makes you want to go there.
Yep.
Look at those trees.
The trees of water, the clouds over
Is that a bit of elevation?
Some mountains or some lower hills in the background.
Is that a rooftop in the bottom right corner?
No, it's he's on a rail. He's like at a overlook.
Oh, okay.
Scenic.
Got it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Man, it makes me want to go down and swim in that crystal clear water.
It is. Yeah, it's pretty.
And I'm not even much of a swimmer.
Patreon shoutouts.
Bring it. I know who's up.
We've got,
Yeah, Bush Williams.
We just got done doing the Hibiki Harmony, which
he sent us.
He sent us.
And we noticed.
And we gave him that shout out. And then we went through and we did some Patreon shout outs. And when we got done, when we shut down the video, we realized Bush Williams was up next.
So he's getting yet another shout out.
He's getting another shout out. Bush Williams, thank you. $1 supporter.
Yeah,
appreciate
Bush Williams.
And how about Brad Leclerc?
Leclerc.
Leclerc.
Yep, he's got $3 supporter. So we're going to be shouting. And Brad, if you want a photo, send it. You can send it to scotchtestdummies@gmail.com. ScotchTestDummies@gmail.com. If you want us to post a photo, we'll give you a shout out. Are you ready to yell?
We'll put it in another video. So.
Another one, yeah. You get a double little thing.
Yeah, you get a
there.
double little shout out.
We ready?
Brad Leclerc!
Woo! Big Brad, $3 a border.
Thank you, Brad.
Big Brad. I like calling Big Brad.
Yep. Jared Gibbs backed us, $2 supporter.
Ooh.
Jared met us down in Oklahoma City. He came out.
Met you, not me.
Well, yeah.
I didn't go.
Yeah. Me and Whiskey Scout went down there. Daniel Willis came out. He brought a couple of his buddies, Curtis and cool. Jonathan. Wow. Jared Gibbs came out. He met up with us. We went to a place called Whiskey Cake and had some drinks and dinner.
Yeah, a crowd down there. That's good. Are they coming for the October 19th and 20th whiskey?
They might. I was talking to them about it, so they're going to be looking at it to see. Now, I think Jared might have tickets already. Sweet. Daniel and his buddies were going to look at coming up for one of the events.
Well, let's yell out Jared's name.
Yep, Jared Gibbs.
Ooh, I wonder if he has like a distant uncle. We had a Mr. Gibbs when I was in high school. Good teacher. Yeah, just throwing it out when I saw it.
And Daniel Hull, $1 supporter.
Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it. Our Patreon, we say this over and over, is a big help. I mean, it's where huge. People think you start making videos on YouTube and you start making money. It's not the case.
Nope.
We're making, I think, $150 a month on YouTube.
You could live on that.
After 5 years.
Yeah, after 5 years of work.
So
2 videos, maybe 3 a week, and we get $100.
Patreon really helps. Of course, you can come in there. You can back us for $1 a month. Yep. You can back us for $1 a show.
So you go to patreon.com, and then when you're in there, you can just search up Scotch Test Dummies. There we show up. We're going to be adjusting some of the tiers, but you can adjust it any way you want. As small as $1 a month, fine, whatever. You can just do $1 and then cap it at $1. We've got guys that are doing 100. Boom. So all that helps us. We will always keep the show free, but this helps us keep setting up special events, buying more expensive bottles, eventually even bourbon trail tours, and eventually, someday, we'll have to work it out with our full-time jobs, a trip to Scotland.
Yep.
That's part of the goals.
Go to ScotchTestDummies.com. You can buy coins. There's our challenge coins. You might end up with these two from this show.
Shirts, hats, not cowboy hats, but baseball cap style.
That's right.
Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
So launch it.
Dummies. I am supposed to have a package being delivered.
Yeah.
A game called Gaslands. Think Mad Max, Road Warrior, Gaslands. Sorry.